Welcome everyone back to the Batavia Daily News Studios. I am Nick Wojton here alongside Todd Haight, Director of Live Racing at Batavia Downs. Todd, unfortunately we're not here talking about a potential Triple Crown. Disappointing there, but
Yes.
still another exciting day in thoroughbred racing here. The Belmont is on Saturday. So let's dive right into that. And actually, off the top of it, we should thank Jim Krenzik. He squeezed in the middle there. I had
Yes,
some
he
Buffalo
did.
Bills duties.
The middle jewel was taken care of.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Jim. But anyways, Todd, Belmont. Let's talk about the race differences before we get into the nitty-gritty details here. We have different distances for all the Triple Crown races, all that stuff. So you know all the details, Todd. Take it away. What's different about the Belmont?
Well, the Belmont is actually the longest of the three. Mile and a half, one turnaround. Belmont Park is a massive racetrack. I don't know if you've ever been there, but for your viewers, it's just a track you really just, there's so many seats outside. You've never seen a track with this outdoor seating like this. And so it's just once around where the Preakness is a mile and 3/16 and the Derby is a mile and a quarter. So all different distances. The Belmont is known as the test of the champion because basically these horses aren't bred to run a mile and a half, and most of them will never do it again. So can they carry 126 pounds and run a mile and a half? Some will, some won't. Some will be looking at for their mother halfway down the stretch.
And Todd, we're going to get to the nitty-gritty here now. We're going to talk each horse here, all 12. But let's start off, we're going a little out of order here. Instead of 1 to 12, I want to start off with Irish War Cry, our favorite.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, 10th place finish. Didn't go, in the Derby.
Yeah.
Didn't run in the Preakness, but now, as you mentioned, we have our favorite.
Yeah.
It's an interesting combo there. Todd. Why is that?
Well, because when we've lost the Derby winner and the Preakness winner, and we also lost the 2-year-old champion Classic Empire on Wednesday due to a foot abscess, we have now a bunch of unproven horses. And when you look at who's done the most, at least in his career, Irish War Cry, who's a multiple stakes winner, and when he wins, he puts up big numbers. He's a deserving favorite. I mean, it's tough to make a case for these other horses as the favorite. Now, it is an extremely wide open race. Sometimes Irish War Cry shows up, and sometimes he doesn't. He's what we call an in and outer. When he's good, he's very good, and when he's bad, like he was in the Derby, he's very bad. So we'll see how he does. Normally, I don't like to take horses like that. I look for more consistency, and certainly Irish War Cry is not that.
Let's go a little bit off script here, Todd. We didn't talk about this first, but you mentioned, I forgot, we're not having our first two winners in this race. Our early week favorite is now out. Have you ever had a dynamic heading to the Belmont like this with all these horses have fallen out?
Well, back in 2010, actually, was the last time that both the Derby and Preakness winner didn't race. I mean, I can understand both horses. Cloud Computing, he didn't race in the Derby because he needs more time between races. The time between the Preakness and the Belmont is just 3 weeks, so he needed more time. And really, Always Dreaming has nothing to prove. He's not a mile and a half horse. If he doesn't have to win, if he can't win the Triple Crown, why not keep him for another race down the road? Now, what I'm hearing is all those three horses you mentioned are all coming back on July 30th in a race in New Jersey called the Haskell Invitational at Monmouth Park. So something that if you go to OTB on a regular basis or if you're casual, you may want to remember that date, July 30th. All three of those great horses are right now scheduled to compete.
Well, that's down the road. Let's start here with Saturday. Let's go through our lineup here. We got number 1 here, Twisted Tom.
A lot of people like him. On paper, he can't win. He's too slow. He's 20-1 on the morning line. They like him for a couple reasons. First, the jockey, Javier Castellano, great jockey, won the Preakness with trainer Chad Brown. Dangerous combination. But he's got some great distance breeding in his pedigree. His grandfather was Thunder Gulch. He won the 1995 Belmont Stakes. Farther down in a couple generations back, he's got Seattle Slew, which I know you've heard of. And even back in the 60s, he's got Stage Georgiani. So most people are pretty sure he'll get the mile and a half. Is he fast enough to do it? Remains to be seen.
Number 2, Taprit.
Taprit was one of those horses that got crushed at the start when Irish War Cry made that left-hand turn out of the gate, really compromised him. His best race was at Tampa Bay Downs, which is a very sandy track, and Belmont Park is known as Big Sandy. That's its nickname because it's really a huge sandy track. So perhaps if he likes that surface, he could run okay.
He's mentioned the sandy texture there, Belmont Saturday. The weather is supposed to add to that.
That's right. It's going to be dry, and you only can put so much water on that sand. It dries out quickly. And normally when a track is dry, it becomes tiring as the horses are slipping on it, and that helps the closers. Taprit's a closer.
Let's keep going through the lineup here. Gormley, I know you like him.
I like Gormley. Actually, by default here, he was clearly up against it in the Derby. The rail was the place to be. He was 5 wide around the track. He actually did well to finish ninth. In fact, coming down the stretch, even though he was exhausted, he still passed the favorite Irish War Cry. So I'm going to give a shot to Gormley. I don't love him. I have to make a pick. Gormley's my pick. Good price, 10 to 1.
Next up, we got J Boys Echo.
J Boys Echo is another horse coming out of the Derby. Fits that profile since 2000, Nick. 8 horses that raced in the Derby, skipped the Preakness, and came back in the Belmont of 1. He raced in the Derby. He did not race well. He was beaten 23 lengths. Maybe he didn't like the sloppy racetrack. Again, he has run one race in his career that makes him capable. Will he run it on Saturday? Remains to be seen.
Time will tell. And now we're up to Hollywood Handsome, number 5.
Well, Hollywood Handsome was in a $50,000 race last time out at Churchill Downs. This race is $1.5 million, so this is quite a step up. The best thing about Hollywood Handsome might be his first initial. Letter H has won more Belmonts than any other the last 1991, being Hansel.
And the one we talked about previously, Todd, looking at Lee.
Yeah, looking at Lee as the same connections that won the Belmont last year with Creator. Trainer Steve Asmussen, jockey Irad Ortiz. In fact, Steve Asmussen actually fired the jockey that had ridden him in the Derby and the Preakness, Corey Lannery, to use Irad Ortiz. So perhaps that's an angle. He's a big stretch runner. I don't really prefer big closers in the Belmont because they don't go that fast early. But hey, Creator was a big stretch runner and he won. So Steve Asmussen is looking to be the 10th trainer in history to win back-to-back Belmonts.
And after looking at Lee, we have Irish War Cry. We already talked about him at the number 7 spot, so let's go skip over Irish War Cry. At number 8, we have Senior Investment.
Well, the track could be favoring those deep closers based on what a comment that trainer Ken McPeak said. If it's really dry, this horse will like it. He did rally up to be 3rd in the Preakness. He appears to be improving. I'm not a big fan of him, but he could certainly be in the top 3 or 4.
And number 9, we have that Meantime. Number 9.
Meantime is a lightly raced horse. He was 2nd in the Peter Pan. He's got speed. If you bet on him, you'll at least have a thrill early. He'll be on or near the lead. And can he get the 1.5 mile remains to be seen. He's not really bred for it. Son of Shackelford. Shackelford was a good speedy horse. Didn't really carry his speed 1.5 miles, but we'll see. I've got another horse. I'm not crazy about him. Not impossible. I like the jockey Hall of Famer Mike Smith.
And at 10 is that Multiplier?
Multiplier. Now, here's a sneaky horse because I have a feeling, and a lot of horses are like this, where he doesn't like to be at the rail. Now, his last 2 races, he had drawn post 1. He was along the rail. He didn't do a lot of running, and when the jockey took him out in the middle of the racetrack, he kicked in. Now, he kicked in enough to win the Illinois Derby, but he didn't kick in enough to win the Preakness. From post 10, adding blinkers, which are a hood that goes on the horse's head that prevents him from looking all around, and maybe he'll concentrate more. He's the right long shot for your viewers to go to OTB on Saturday, or even advanced wagering right now as we speak. Number 10, Multiplier, excellent long shot.
Interesting addition there, Todd. And number 11, Todd, I'm going to let you take the name here for our Japanese flavor horse here.
I don't speak Japanese either, but Epicarus is what we're call him. He's never raced in the U.S. He's here because the people at Belmont Park put up a $1 million bonus for any Japanese-based horse. He's been racing in Japan. He did go to Dubai and race 1 start. The problem is the reports are that he's been treated for some lameness issues. He got a shot of bute in his right leg on Wednesday. He stayed in the stall on Thursday. I'm not sure what he did today being Friday, but to me that is not a positive, so we're going to stay away from the Japanese horse.
And finally, to round it out, last but certainly not least, we have Patch here, the lovable one from the Derby, if I remember correctly. So what do you got for Patch
Well,
here?
Patch is the one-eyed horse. Unfortunately, lost his left eye as a 2-year-old. Nice horse. His father did win a Belmont Stakes, so perhaps he has the breeding. My knock with him, he's only had 4 lifetime starts. Is he seasoned enough to race 1.5 miles remains to be seen. But I will tell you, sentimental story, I'm rooting for number 12. I didn't pick him, and I'm not betting on him, but I'm rooting for him. Number 12, Patch.
Interesting and likely enough here. You got 2 different flavors of rooting, Todd. Right. But we talked about our whole field here, Todd. You're the pick master here, so let's get into them.
Well, I'm going to box 4 horses. Now, out of the 4, as long as 2 out of the 4 run first or second, we win. I'm going to spend $24 because after my picks in the first 2 legs, that's about all I have in my checking account. But I'm going to box the 3 Gormley, who I think is really going to improve. I will tell you, since his race in the Derby, it's like a light bulb has went off on him, and he's been training great, and he seems more focused, and perhaps Saturday could be the day. You have to use the 6 looking at Lee, who will make a late run. Maybe he can rally up to be second. The 7, the favorite, Irish War Cry, looking to be the first New Jersey bred to win the Belmont Stakes in 104 years, so we'll see what happens there. In my long shot pick, the 10 multiplier. It's very easy. You go to any OTB. You can do that today or tomorrow when the OTB branches open at 11 a.m. or you can go over to the Downs. Wagering begins there at 11 a.m. on tomorrow on Saturday, and just say you want a $1 exacta box, 3, 6, 7, 10. That'll cost you $12. If you want to be like me and spend $2, it'll cost you $4. You can bet as much as you want on it, but a $2 bet will cost you $24. And if we get lucky and we can get this 15-to-1 horse multiplier with this 10-to-1 Gormley, we're looking at a couple $100. So it's not bad for a couple.
Okay,
Small investment.
sounds good to me. So it was 3, 6, 7, 10 for your horse numbers there, folks.
Right.
And Todd, got to wrap it up here. You guys put on probably the best Triple Crown race party. So what do you guys got going on?
Yeah, we've got our $10 deal again. We've had just a great crowds for the Derby and Preakness party for just $10, Nick. You'll get yourself 6 different food items. You'll get a $2 wager on the Belmont Stakes, and you'll also get your $10 back in free play on the gaming floor. You just have to earn 1 point to redeem it. And my favorite cocktail of the 3 Triple Crown races, the Belmont Breeze. Absolutely delicious drink. Google it if you want to know what's in it, and it's just $5 at Batavia Downs tomorrow.
There you go, guys. You heard you can't lose the Belmont Breeze. That's
Breeze.
your winning pick
That's
of the day
right.
of Saturday. Well, for Batavia Downs, I'm Nick Wojton. Todd, Director of Live Racing at Batavia Downs. Thanks again for joining us.
See you next year.
Yeah, see you next year, and good luck on your